Comics that are serial can end up feeling very monster of the week, with many problems coming and going, being resolved without any change or effect being made as a result. Which means that when something comes along that makes a more permanent change and alters not just the scenery but the very lifestyle or personality even of some of our favorite characters in comics, we tend to be drawn in more. So many of our favorite superheroes are so fantastical that seeing them move through life stages can help to ground them in reality, making them more interesting and more relatable. Depending on the approach, of course, to those changes and how those stories are told. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. Today we are going to be taking a look at a very specific life change and how it affected the heroes involved, for better or for worse, as we count down the top 10 DC Comics superheroes who got pregnant. Not all pregnancy stories are as meaningful, and not all of them are even kept within continuity or with the confines of reality, but they definitely all attempt to change the status quo. Let's find out how and get counting. Number 10. Power Girl. One of the weirdest pregnancies in probably all of comics history, which is why this one takes our bottom spot. I'm just like, it's not that great, so we're putting it at 10, but it's an interesting story, so if you haven't heard of it yet, I mean, hold on, because this is a wild ride. Power Girl became miraculously pregnant, and when other heroes inquired as to how this happened and who the father was, it was revealed that as far as Power Girl knew, there was no father because she was still a virgin. Huh? We later learned that this pregnancy was a result of Power Girl coming into contact with her grandfather, who granted her this immaculate conception so that she could give birth to a champion who would help to defeat an ancient and unstoppable evil. The champion baby grows up rapidly after it's born, is never really named by Power Girl but is constantly referred to as Baby, which is weird, and basically accuses her of being an overbearing mother before defeating the evil and leaving forever. Oh yeah, also the demon who the baby was destined to defeat was apparently the father. Yeah. It was a time. Number 9. Black Canary. In Injustice, it was revealed that Black Canary was pregnant, which actually inspired a bit of camaraderie between her and oftentimes villain Harley Quinn. Harley even revealed that she too was actually a mother and had Joker's child, but kept it a secret from the Clown Prince of Crime because she was likely worried for the child's safety and also didn't want to distract Mr. J. When Black Canary's son was born, Harley even came to visit Dinah at the hospital, posing as her sister in Injustice Gods Among Us Year 2, issue 15, to deliver presents for the little newborn. Weird presents, of course, because hey, this is Harley Quinn, but still, the gesture was pretty comical and pretty sweet. And friends, before we move on to our next spot, just a quick reminder to give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it, and make sure to click that subscribe if you haven't already. Number 8. Batgirl. Batgirl Barbara Gordon has been pregnant in a few different continuities and alternate timelines. In fact, one of my favorite pregnancies for her is one she shared with Dick Grayson. I love Barbara and Dick together personally, so I like the Earth 2 New 52 version of their story where they ended up together and had a son. Sadly, Barbara ends up dying while fighting to protect her family, and in this reality, Dick ends up becoming Oracle. Their son John grows up to become Robin and joins the Earth 2 superhero team, the Wonders of the World. There is also another alternate reality where Barbara ends up pregnant with Bruce's child, which is, yeah, a lot less my favorite. This happens while Dick is away, and the revelation destroys his and Barbara's relationship. The pregnancy does not come to full term as Barbara suffers a miscarriage due to the strain of fighting crime. Number 7. Spoiler. Another pregnancy that I think was an interesting story which gave us tons of character development was Spoilers. Stephanie Brown discovered that she was pregnant after she'd broken up with her boyfriend Dean. Fortunately, she had found the best and most supportive friend she could ask for in Tim Drake. Stephanie decided to give birth to the baby but gave her up for adoption, something I don't think we see as often explored in the comics personally. Stephanie believed this would give her daughter the best shot at life, even though it was a very hard decision for her to ultimately make. I think this pregnancy story is a great one just in terms of what it did for both Tim and Stephanie's relationship, bringing them closer together, and for revealing more about what kind of people they each were. Because they were kind of just, yeah, they're both just kind of cool characters, and I feel like we got to know them a bit better through that story. Number 6. Shadow. Shadow is more on the side of villain most of the time, but she has helped out Oliver Queen before, teaming up with him to fight Count Vertigo in the New 52 continuity, and so for that, we're going to count her as an anti-hero for the purpose purpose of this list. Previous to the Prime Earth continuity, her alignment was a little more ambiguous, and that version of Shadow also got pregnant, but only after it was implied, at least, that she assaulted Oliver Queen to do so, taking advantage of him while he was unconscious and in her care. Although really it depends on what you're reading as opposed to how you want to take that whole interaction, because yeah, it's a weird retconned, retconned thing. In the Prime Earth continuity, things are a lot cleaner. She becomes pregnant with Robert Queen's child and gives birth to Emiko Queen, who instead grew up to be Red Arrow and Oliver Queen's half-sister. Weirdly enough, in the New Earth continuity, she actually named her and Oliver's son Robert. So when you're looking at both these continuities, it seems very confusing. Welcome to DC, where there are many continuities and they're all confusing. Number 5. Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman has become pregnant as well across a few different continuities and alternate timelines, one of the more notable ones in my mind being in Kingdom Come. Here she becomes pregnant with Superman's child, they have a son together, and asks Batman to become the godfather of their child and also to help them raise him. In the end, it would be revealed that their son would actually grow up to be the guardian of Hypertime, the time-traveling hero known as Hyperman. Their son, like many of Superman's other sons across the continuities and alternate timelines of DC, would be named Jonathan Kent. There are so many John Kents, so many of them from different realities. Number 4. Hippolyta. I personally love the version of Wonder Woman's origins with her being a daughter made out of clay, but of course, as time changes, so do characters' origins. Especially at DC, where it feels like origins are deemed outdated once every decade, and as such kind of end up getting some kind of refresh to them. One such story is the creation of Diana. In the Prime Earth continuity, it was revealed that Hippolyta fell in love with a man who she believed was worthy of her, but he wasn't actually just a man, he was a god. The god, in fact, Zeus. She became pregnant with his children and gave birth to a daughter, Diana, and a son, Jason. Once she learned that this man was Zeus, she decided to create a cover story for her daughter and give away her son in order to basically protect both of them. Hence the story we all know of still existing in this reality, but as a cover instead of a truth, that Diana was made from clay. Hippolyta did this to protect her children, Themyscira, and herself from the wrath of Zeus's wife, the often jealous Hera. At least often jealous in mythology. Not as familiar with Hera in the comics, though. But in the myths, she's very jealous a lot. Number 3. Mara. One of the most sweet pregnancies in DC Comics, especially in recent years. Mara and Aquaman got pregnant in the previous continuity, and it didn't work out so great with that Aqua baby, Arthur Curry Jr., living a far too short life and being taken from his parents by the Aquaman villain Black Manta. This ended up causing a rift between the parents, who would eventually divorce because of their child's demise. However, this time around, Mara and Aquaman had a baby girl, and it seems this version of the story is getting a much happier ending. Well, so far at least, with their daughter Andy Curry growing up to become Aquawoman in DC's future state, and with Aquaman and Mara tying the knot in the current continuity in issue 65 of the most recent Aquaman run, which started in 2016. I gotta say, I love both Arthur and Mara as parents to this cute little bean. I love Andy Curry, she's so cute. Number 2. Rocket. Rocket is definitely one of the notable pregnant superheroes in all of DC Comics history. She is from the Dakotaverse and Milestone imprint, which is gearing up to be relaunched by DC later this year. She had an accidental teen pregnancy, but after learning she was pregnant, wanted to keep the baby. Both her mother and the father of the child, her ex-boyfriend Noble, encouraged her to abort the pregnancy, but she decided against doing so and ended up giving birth to a son, whom she named in part after her superhero partner and role model, Icon. Her son was named Amistad Augustus Irvin. Rocket became a Milestone character not just for Milestone, but for comics overall, and is often noted as the first single teen mother superhero in comic book history. Number 1. Catwoman. Catwoman has had a few pregnancies actually across other continuities and alternate Earths. She had a daughter named Helena, who was the result of a one-night stand with Sam Bradley Jr., but due to the time-skipping event of 1 year later, we didn't really get to see how most of her pregnancy played out, instead skipping ahead to when Selina's baby girl was delivered. Catwoman would go so far as to fake hers and her daughter's death to ensure their safety, all with the help of the Bat family, of course. But even then, it wasn't enough, and in the end, Selina actually had to give up Helena. Recently, in Catwoman's 80th anniversary, we got a glimpse into the pregnant life and child rearing of the daughter that Catwoman had with Batman in an alternate timeline of Tom King's, where Batman and Catwoman ended up as a married, crime-fighting duo, which I love. And that story, titled Helena, because yeah, this version of the daughter is also named Helena, is about as adorable and tear-inducing as you can imagine. Also, if you haven't read the 80th anniversary of Catwoman yet, you should definitely go back and read that. There's lots of cool stuff in there. What are some of your favorite life-changing superhero stories? Which superheroes would you love to see start a family? What do you think of superhero moms and dads who manage to raise a baby and kick butt? I personally think, how do you have the time? That's crazy. Let us know in the comments below. This has been Top 10 Nerd, and I'm your host Amanda McKnight, reminding you to stay nerdy, YouTube.